What's up, guys? How are you doing today? So today I'm going to talk about a very strange case where a lady felt like her eyeball was falling out when she would lean over to tie her shoes. So this is a case report that I just recently read. It's reported by a group in Paris, France, and they talk about a 56-year-old woman who came to the doctor because sure enough, every time she bent over to tie her shoelaces, she felt like her eyeball was falling out. Now, as a neurologist, and actually a neurologist with a subspecialty in neuro-ophthalmology, I see a lot of people who, before they tell me their symptom, they say, "You're gonna think I'm crazy," or "This sounds really weird." And I understand that, but I'm almost never surprised when people say things. Now, I don't think I've necessarily had a patient tell me she felt like her eyeball was falling out. But what happened to this patient? So when she went to the doctor, her examinations were normal, apparently. So her visual acuity was fine. They did not see any problem with the eyeball moving itself. The eye wasn't bulging out, so they did not actually see the eye falling out during the clinic visit, which is a good thing. But they went ahead and ordered an MRI scan. So let's take a look at the MRI scan that they ordered. Okay, so when we're looking at this MRI scan here, these are the eyeballs. So the patient's actually lying down looking upwards. So here's the bridge of the nose right here. You can actually see some of their brain tissue here. These are the temporal lobes right here. These white things over here are basically the eye muscles that help the eye or the globe move left to right. These are some of the sinuses right here. But here we have a very helpful arrow sign, what radiologists like to say when they're teaching. And the arrow sign is pointing to something abnormal, but it's very, very subtle. So this is in the patient's left eye, actually, because the patient's lying down looking upwards, so everything looks backwards on this MRI scan. And what we're seeing in this left eye is just a little bit of abnormal contrast enhancement, meaning when they put in what's called the gadolinium dye and it goes around in the body, it will make certain structures light up abnormally if there's a problem going on. And in this case, this little bright area is not supposed to be there under normal circumstances. So this in and of itself is non-specific. So it is abnormal, and it is in the eye that seems like it's falling out when she lays upside down. But what does it actually due to? It's hard to say just due to this little problem. So let's go ahead and take a look at when they repeated the MRI scan with the patient lying face down in a prone position to presumably increase the pressure sensation and mimic when she's leaning over to tie her shoe. What did that show? Let's take a look. Okay, so this is very, very different from the previous one. What do we see here? Well, what do we not see? Okay, now we get a star, which shows us that there is something abnormal, which I agree with, because the right orbit, or the right eye socket, looks all normal. This is the optic nerve right here. Here we see these extraocular muscles on both sides. We see the eyeball. What are we seeing on this side? What in the world is going on? Again, this is with the patient lying prone, increasing pressure to that left eye. Well, this is something that is called a varix. A varix is an abnormality in a blood vessel where it has this abnormal dilation. Now, this is in a vein, so it's not an aneurysm, okay? That's an artery that's under a lot higher pressure, and an aneurysm can burst and cause problems. It's definitely life-threatening, completely different issue. But this is a varix, and this is where sometimes this blood vessel is just not draining appropriately. So, you can imagine why she feels like her eyeball is falling out, because it's literally getting pushed forward. So look right here at the bridge of the nose right here, and look where the eyeball is, the globe right here on her right side. And you can see that this left side, that eyeball is literally being pushed out. So that can cause what's called proptosis or exophthalmos, being the fancy word, that literally causes that eyeball to be pushing out. So good for her, she was right. Well, of course she was right. She's the expert of her own body. So she knew that it felt like the eyeball was falling out, but she was right to seek medical attention because there was definitely something causing it. Now, in her case, it sounds like, according to the authors, what they wrote in this short description, is that she decided not to go for any sort of surgery or laser therapy or something more invasive, but rather take a watch and wait approach because it really only bothered her when she would lean over. And that's reasonable because anytime you're signing up for a surgery, you need to think about the complications of what could go wrong in a surgery. So yes, maybe they could fix this perfectly, but maybe there's a 5% chance that she could have complete blindness in the eye. And I'm just making up that 5% chance. I don't know anything about her specific case. I haven't looked at the rest of the scans. I'm just basically provided what they have in this case report. But you just need to weigh the pros and cons of a surgery or an intervention carefully just when you're considering anything that a doctor may do to your body. So anyways, I thought this was an interesting case report. I wanted to share it with you guys, and that is the mystery case of the feeling like her eye was falling out when she was leaning over to tie her shoes. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day. You can check out one of the videos around here if you want to, but otherwise we'll catch you later. Peace.